ConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Business Oversight and the Financial Lenders Law. Number 603D787. An equal opportunity lender. Rates subject to change and credit approval. Call 800-501-HIT for more information.
Checking the 605 between Norwalk and Whittier and more in 90 seconds. Or in about a minute is 3:54.
It'll be a different kind of defense the Patriots will face in New England's second game at SoFi in 5 days.
The Rams defense will have to stop a Patriots offense that scored 31 points on the Chargers. Remember, 14 of those points in the win over the Chargers came from special teams. New England coach Bill Belichick knows that means trying to stop Aristotle.
They're going to play he's not a factor on. He's right in the middle of the defense. You can't really get away from him on any run or pass play. You got to deal with him, block him on every play. So he's definitely a major factor in the game.
New England has won 4 of their last 5 games, including wins over the Ravens and the Cardinals. And at 6-6, they're actually looking at a potential playoff spot. Randy Trudin, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Young fans of the LA Chargers can work out with the team virtually with NFL players and the team's assistant strength coach beginning today. Recorded fitness and sports drills are available online, and LA County has planned a live stream event featuring players on Thursday to wrap up the 3-day program. Kids will get a chance to learn stretching and warm-up exercises, as well as football, boxing, soccer, tennis, golf, and volleyball drills and skills. The first batch of the COVID vaccine is coming to LA County soon. We'll have the details at 4:03 after CBS News. It's 3:55.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Brought to you by Merrill. Here's Denise Farnell.
We've got a new problem on the 405, and this is in Irvine on the 405 southbound connector to the 133 south. We've got an injury crash reported here, so fire department is on the way, and it looks like we have the right lane tied up with that one. The 91 westbound at Weir Canyon on-ramp in Anaheim Hills. New problem reported here, coming in as a traffic hazard. It looks like somebody is in a broken down car in one of the lanes. On the 5 at northbound, south of Jamboree, we've got a truck stuck out in your number 3 lane. Checking that wreck in Encino, Scott, Southern California Toyota Dealers 101 Jam Cam.
So 101 westbound, just west of White Oak, where we do have several lanes blocked with a 4-car crash, and that is the reason for the backup starting around Van Nuys Boulevard. So I would suggest Burbank Boulevard as an alternate and rejoining the 101 westbound at Reseda. That'll get you around that problem. Eastbound 101 right around White Oak, there's some debris reported in lanes, so expect a short backup there. And then tougher off the 405 heading into Studio City, Denise.
We've got a wreck in Norwalk on the 605 northbound, and this is right at Firestone. Injury crash there. A couple of cars involved, and it was in the far right lane. CHP ran a brake to clear it to the shoulder, and the southbound side looks like it is slow. Leaving Whittier Boulevard, it's going to stay slow as you make your way down to the 5, and then it looks a whole lot better from there. When questions find you, Merrill Edge Self-Directed Investing has personalized tools and insights to help you find answers. Get started at merrilledge.com/withinreach. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Next report, 405 with more traffic reports more often. I'm Denise Fondo in the SDCCU 24-hour traffic center, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Temperatures well above average, 70s and 80s. A little bit of cooling as we go into tomorrow, 357.
Doesn't it seem like each day is one long beat? I often ask myself what could possibly happen next.
A major disaster may be unfolding right now.
My name is Scott Jusam. I am the founder of the Tax Defense Group. My company advertises on radio stations just like this. When you hear it, you know it's different. Our company represents individuals and businesses that have issues related to the IRS. I have enrolled agents that make calls and will be on call for anything and everything related to your tax matter. You don't need to fear the IRS. You need to have the most qualified people speaking on your behalf. Do you have a tax-related matter that is keeping you up at night? Have you hired a company that didn't have an ad like this? Hey, don't call companies that sell you a jingle. Call the best tax relief company in the business, the Tax Defense Group. I know that because I built it.
For a free, no-obligation consultation, call 855-TAX-BILL. 855-TAX-BILL. That's 855-829-2455.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives. Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
mercyships.org. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Insurance companies are honest and pay what's fair. Haha, laughable. iAccidentLawyer.com will get you all the money they're not telling you about.
Attorney Donald Stevenson sells very not a guarantee after dramatization.
The news you need now more than ever. People you trust. Live from the Until Alone Burroughs Mud Studios. Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic. KNX, KITHN, and HD2 Los Angeles. KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
Coming up, as the death toll rises, LA County health officials prepare for their first shipment of the coronavirus vaccine.
Plus, state officials say the best way to stay safe over the holidays is to stay home.
These stories plus traffic every 10 minutes on the 5s after CBS covers the world. It's 4 o'clock.
The president's biggest loss yet, a simple one-sentence rejection by the High Court. Another step for a COVID vaccine. There were no issues about its safety and efficacy. Overseas,
Britain begins vaccinating its people.
this is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Peter King in Orlando. As President Trump continues to falsely claim that he won the election, his attempts to overturn the certified results have finally reached a dead end. White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy. At his White House vaccine summit, the president called on state legislatures and Supreme Court justices to step in.
Let's see if they have the courage to do what everybody in this country knows is right.
But in a simple one-sentence order, the Supreme Court turns down a GOP request to upend the certification of Joe Biden's victory in Pennsylvania. The court's unsigned order is being read as a signal that despite Mr. Trump's public pleas, justices will not be acting on his behalf to overturn the will of the people. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News.
The House has just passed a defense spending package with enough Republican votes to override a threatened presidential veto. White House earlier.
Let's see here. I guess we have to do our best,
President Trump signing an executive order he says will ensure Americans have priority access to COVID-19 vaccines that are made here. The U.S. has passed the 15 million case mark, and President-elect Biden says his team will be ready on day one to help get the pandemic under control.
We'll be far, far from done. Yes, it's possible that after 100 days we'll be much further along.
Mr. Biden has asked Americans to mask up for his first 100 days in office. As one vaccine comes another step closer to approval. CBS's Dr. David Akins.
The Pfizer mRNA vaccine against COVID-19 cleared a significant hurdle today when the U.S. FDA announced that there were no issues about its safety and efficacy.
And a vaccine's already being distributed in Great Britain.
It happened in a vaccine clinic in a Coventry hospital at 6:31 local time on a foggy English morning. This was the moment the biggest mass vaccination campaign in the history of Britain's health service began.
In Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, in England, people are having the vaccine for the first time, and it will gradually make a huge difference.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson emphasizing the gradually. It will be months before this vaccine starts to make a dent in infection rates here. Until then, Brits are being warned it's far too soon to relax COVID restrictions. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
On Wall Street, the Dow closed up 104 points. Now this. Did you know you can listen to CBS News Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on radio.com or the radio.com app?
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. I'm Mike Simpson.
And I'm Karen Adams. Our top local story at 4:03. LA County reaches a grim milestone as the death toll from COVID-19 hits 8,000, with another 64 people dying from the virus. The tragic news comes as the county continues to see devastating numbers of daily cases and hospitalizations. County Public Health Director Barbara Ferrer told the Board of Supervisors,
We anticipate continuing to see these very high numbers of cases now as we're moving into a reflection of actions people took over the Thanksgiving week holiday.
she also said the county's initial allocation
colleges next week. Due to the limited supply, she said eligibility will be determined by phases of prioritization developed by the CDC, as well as guidance from state public health.
The prioritization is for healthcare workers and for people that are residing in our long-term care facilities. We have been working on distributing this initial dose to our acute care hospitals.
Ferrer hopes to see the second allocation around December 21st. The priority then will be to make sure all residents and staff at skilled nursing facilities are vaccinated. Margaret Carrero, KNX 1070 News Radio.
California's seen more than 23,000 new COVID cases over the last 24 hours. Virus has killed 112 people in that period, and the top health officer says the best thing people can do is just stay home.
The case numbers continue to soar along with the hospitalizations.
Almost 71% increase in the last 14 days for hospitalization.
And Health and Human Services Secretary Dr. Mark Galley says we likely haven't seen all the spikes from the Thanksgiving get-togethers just yet.
We are worried about a rapidly accelerating increase in pressure on our hospitals.
The outdoor dining controversy continues to be a hot-button issue, and when Dr. Galley was asked about specific proof linking outdoor dining to the virus surge, he would only say this.
The stay-at-home order really does guide us to reduce our mixing, to reduce our movement as much as we can.
And as we get closer to the holidays, he's advising that people cancel any trips or visits they have planned.
Keep connected with loved ones virtually.
He says he knows this is tough for everyone, but with the vaccines on the way, he believes there's a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. John Baird, KNX 1070 News Radio.
People planning underground parties during the pandemic, the LA Sheriff says they're coming for you. Details after traffic at 405.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Denise Fondo.
In Orange County, in San Juan Capistrano, 5 South Ave, before Juniper Roseros, we've got an injury crash, 2 cars involved, and traffic is starting to slow on the southbound side coming up on that one. We've got CHP running a break in Anaheim, 57 north before Catella to clear a stalled car from the lanes. Now let's head to Scott Burt, Southern California Toyota Dealers 101, San Fernando Valley Jam Camp.
Have a crash on the 101 westbound at White Oak with 2 right lanes, 4 cars there, and that is the reason for the extensive backup. That pretty much out of Studio City, starting about Coldwater Canyon. I would probably use Burbank Boulevard and get back on the freeway at Reseda. That should help you out. Some debris on the 101 eastbound at White Oak across lanes. That's creating a bit of a backup starting about Winnetka, and tougher leaving Sherman Oaks off the 405 heading into Studio City.
We've got a new problem reported on the 5 and northbound side, and this is the Golden State North and a little bit before Western, and that is in the Glendale area. We've got a stalled out big rig reported, and that's sitting on that narrow right shoulder. Next report, 415 with more traffic reports. More often, I'm Denise Fondo in the SCCCU 24-hour traffic center, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Breezy still and warm today, 70s and 80s, so well above average. For tomorrow, a little bit of cooling, but more of a drop back towards where we should be, normal, later this week. We'll have a 5-day forecast a little later on the next few days for that. 77 in downtown LA, 80 in Fullerton, Riverside now 75.
It's 407. LA Sheriff says there's a new threat to public health in the county. He says there are underground parties where people are at risk of catching the coronavirus.
Sheriff Alex Villanueva says busting up super spreader events is one of his department's latest priorities.
Remember, we arrested 158 people. The outdoor temperature was 26 degrees. That event would have had 500 people had we not broken it up.
He's talking about an event last weekend about a big party in Palmdale.
In this case, it was actually a vacant house that they broke into to do this party. They even moved in with an entire U-Haul with all their equipment. This is how brazen this operation was.
Sheriff Villanueva says these events are nothing new.
There is an underground party circuit that's been going on forever.
He says the people behind these events do face prosecution. Craig Figger, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Orange County now, hospitals filling up with the coronavirus patients. Right now, there's a record number of 946 people hospitalized in the OC with COVID-19, 235 in ICU beds. That is close to a high that was set in mid-July. No new deaths reported in the last 24 hours, but the adjusted case rate per 100,000 population zoomed up 8 points to over 30, and then the positivity rate climbs nearly 2. It is now 10.5%.
A former LA DA is making no secret that he does not support the new DA, George Gascon.
The law-abiding public, they better get ready, because
It's just not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty.
Steve Cooley was the county's DA from 2000 to 2012, and he tells KNX In-Depth he's got some advice for prosecutors who are threatening to leave now that Gascon has taken over.
I say they stay. They're civil service protected, and when he or his minions order them, the true professional prosecutor, to do something that's illegal, unethical, or unconstitutional, they can refuse to do it. They have that right as attorneys.
Cooley takes issue with Gascon wanting to review officer shooting cases.
He's fulfilling his promise, the Black Lives Matter people. You know, the first people he met with, Black Lives Matter leaders. That's where his heart is. He's going to make some of them scapegoats just to satisfy what he thinks is a worthy constituency. And they are not, by the way.
Cooley says Gascon is incompetent and won't last long. Rob Archer, KNX 1070 News Radio.
And KNX, we've reached out to DA Gascon for his response, and you can hear the complete interview with Steve Cooley on the KNX In-Depth podcast. It's available on radio.com.
Despite claims from critics, the Orange County Sheriff says his deputies are following a state law that limits cooperation with the federal immigration officers. Don Barnes telling the Board of Supervisors law allows deputies to notify ICE when jail inmates convicted of violence crimes are released, but he says more than 1,000 others with immigration holds, they were set free without any alert to the feds. Sheriff says his deputies enforce local laws when they patrol.
We do not use any local taxpayer dollars for the enforcement of any ICE activities. We do not perform immigration activities within the public as part of our law enforcement duties when serving the public in a law enforcement capacity, nor do we use law enforcement